according to a sexual harassment lawsuit filed Friday. Assistant Chief Raul Stevenson of Patrol Borough, Manhattan North, served as a judge of the contest on December 13, 2023 at the Glen Island Harbor Club in New Rochelle, going from table to table, appraising female cops in plunging gowns under his command. The allegations emerged in a lawsuit filed in Manhattan State Court by Lieutenant Mariela Matos Leo, who claimed Stevenson sexually harassed her in 2022 and then tried to derail her career after she rebuffed his advances. There was no prize for best dressed man, said Matos Leo of the holiday party contest. According to a law enforcement source, the NYPD Legal Bureau was neither aware of nor approved the contest, but the department's separate Office of Equity and Inclusion was consulted and did approve it. That's unbelievable. Matos Leo's lawsuit turns on her claim that after she ignored Stevenson's repeated invitations 1 year earlier to the command's 2022 holiday party, he mounted a campaign of criticism of her work that cost her better assignments and made her life miserable. Matos Leo's lawyer, John Scola, says the case is another example of the NYPD's longstanding culture of sexual harassment and retaliation. A best dressed contest for women at a workplace event sends a clear message that career advancement isn't based on merit, but on catering to the boss's personal desires, Scola said. It forces women into an impossible choice. Either sexualize themselves to stay in favor or risk retaliation, just like Lieutenant Matos Leo. In a statement, an NYPD spokesperson declined to comment on a lawsuit, but said the department does not tolerate sexual harassment and is committed to respectful work environments for a diverse workforce. The NYPD thoroughly investigates all complaints it receives and offers several reporting options for NYPD employees, including anonymously. Matos Leo, 40, joined the NYPD in 2006. She was promoted to sergeant in 2015. In 2019, she sued the NYPD over a complex saga involving an allegedly abusive boyfriend who was also a police officer, claiming other officers retaliated against her for filing a criminal complaint against the boyfriend, court records show. The city settled that lawsuit in 2023 for $60,000, Scola said. In October 2022, Matos Leo was promoted to lieutenant and assigned to the 24th precinct on the Upper West Side, where Stevenson's office is also housed. Soon after she arrived, she says Stevenson was solicitous, I hope I said that right, under the guise of inviting her to the upcoming holiday party several weeks away. He took my hand, introduced himself, and told me to see him if I ever needed anything, and then told his driver, "We've got to tell her about the party," she said. He was holding my hand the whole time. After that, every time I saw him, he would say, "Don't forget you have to come to my party," or he would tell his driver to remind me. Matos Leo was so uncomfortable at the attention, she skipped the party. Stevenson's manner toward her then changed, she alleges. This is how the chief gets when he is rejected, a fellow sergeant told her, the lawsuit claims. Stevenson began criticizing her work in front of other supervisors. In an April 2023 citywide meeting, he pointed to Matos Leo and said, "This is what not to do as a supervisor." A lieutenant inadvertently left his microphone on and said, "Why is this man being such a dick to this girl?" Stevenson overheard the remark and demanded to know who made it. That lieutenant was later disciplined, the lawsuit says. In a May 2023 meeting, Stevenson told Matos Leo if he had the power, he would fire her because her work is mediocre, the lawsuit said. It got to the point where people recognized me, she said. Everyone knew he would take any chance to drag me through the mud. After that, Matos Leo began putting in for transfers to various other units. In December 2023, Stevenson hosted the holiday party with the contest. Tickets were $150, a flyer shows. Matos Leo showed the news photos of the event, including pictures of female cops in slinky dresses that left little to the imagination. And I see this is the flyer for it. Matos Leo also found herself under the microscope from commanders who either worked under Stevenson or previously worked for him. He's the top dog, and so it follows you, she said. He persuades them that you are crazy or incompetent, and your rep gets destroyed. In February 2024, Inspector Kevin Taylor was transferred from command of the School Safety Division to work under Stevenson. He later placed on desk duty and had to surrender his phones amid a series of corruption investigations that embroiled the AS administration. Taylor has not been charged with any wrongdoing. Taylor demanded Matos Leo salute him every day every time she saw him when he had just emerged from the gym, she claims. He also ordered her to write down every order she gave cops under her command, the suit says. In May, she asked for a transfer to one of the transit bureaus, but specifically requested not to be transferred to Transit District 4 at Union Square. She was transferred there anyway in June. At the transit district, Matos Leo got into a running conflict with a female sergeant under her command who was close to the unit commander, Deputy Inspector Joseph Pulgarin, the suit alleges. The sergeant allegedly ignored Matos Leo's orders at times and sometimes called her crazy or otherwise made fun of her. At one point, she tried to discipline the sergeant, but Pulgarin, who previously worked under Stevenson, blocked it. In September, she met with Pulgarin, but the commander again refused to discipline the sergeant, the lawsuit says. That's when I decided to sue, she said. I did not want to go to his command. I have been so beat up and disrespected, I had enough. I was going to retire, but now I'm determined to fight to be heard. Matos Leo claims Stevenson's alleged retaliation caused her to make less than male lieutenants and cost her as much as $1.7 million in lost pension benefits, the lawsuit alleges. Matos Leo can retire when she hits 20 years of service in 2026. For now, she is bouncing back and forth between her uncomfortable work situation and her young children, an 11-year-old son with autism and 7-year-old daughter with lupus. It takes a lot of strength to deal with this, she said. If you go to work and show any emotion, I could potentially lose everything. Serena.
Wow.
You're a counselor. What do you got to say about that? I mean, it sounds familiar, actually. Very, very familiar.
Yeah, it does. It actually sounds very familiar to me. And there is a culture, unfortunately, in NYPD and DOC, frankly, of sexual harassment, sexual abuse, and retaliation, certainly, for speaking out about such things. And so, look, I haven't seen any of the evidence in this case, but based on the article, it sounds really horrible. It sounds like she was put in an impossible position. And also, by the way, that best dressed contest is in the worst taste ever and probably not. I guess it wasn't approved by legal, but I'm surprised that it was approved by EEO. I wonder who in particular approved that, because first of all, it singled out the women. It was apparently only a best dressed contest for women. So that's certainly a problem. Secondly, it encourages, what are we trying to encourage from our law enforcement officers here? Like, it's just not a vibe that I think should be had in a workplace event. So look, I think that this lawsuit is going to be an interesting one to follow. I feel really badly for her if the allegations are true. And I guess I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of what she said is true, because you do see a lot of that, males in high-powered positions who are very easily offended by the rejection of females. I've been there before, and it's not a fun place to be as a woman.
Yeah, I believe you had to deal with the one aforementioned and very good friends of Raul Stevenson and company, Tim Pearson, a former deputy mayor of public safety and aide to Mayor Eric Adams. And also, how many lawsuits has he involved in sexual harassment? I lost count.
Many. Just so I don't get sued here, Sal, I am not alleging that Tim Pearson ever did anything sexually to me or harassed me at all. He didn't. But I'm just saying the culture of the environment is definitely that way. And I've experienced it myself. And I do. Yes. And you're right. I do think Tim Pearson is facing many of those types of allegations. Again, not from me, but, look, it's a hard place to excel as a woman. It is, because no matter how bright you are, how promising your career, a lot of things don't go based on that when men are in charge. So it sucks. And I hope that she ends up getting justice if this did in fact happen.
So now I'm going to get to the part I was mentioning, especially around the Con Sofrito crew. We have Tim Pearson, I just mentioned. It has four sexual harassment lawsuits. Eric Adams himself is involved in 2. Jeffrey Madry, just look at the Lieutenant Epps situation, which is a disaster. That's also now, you learned, I don't know if you know this, but I revealed a letter from my own lawsuit because me and Lieutenant Epps actually share the same attorney. And in that letter that was given to the court, Eric Sanders wrote something that people are skipping over, and it says that the FBI in Southern District of New York intervened in Lieutenant Epps' case. You saw the raids being performed. So if I'm Jeffrey Madry, and in there, it also mentioned that it's involving top executives in New York City Police Department and the office of the mayor of New York City. If I'm Eric Adams, I'm squirming in that seat because that sounds like a federal case involving sexual harassment or whatever else was going on there. But to look at the whole, pyramid here, there's a problem in the New York City Police Department. Concha Frito is full of these a lot of stuff that they said happened there. One of those, as I stated, was the human trafficking report, or report to human trafficking, and we don't know what happened to that. It's like it vanishes after Eric Adams becomes mayor. And they were always hanging out at this place. Now, you mentioned the EEO. Wendy Garcia was the head of the EEO, and she's leaving. She just hasn't officially done it because someone from the sanitation department, that's where Tish used to work, Jessica Tish, was supposed to take that spot and is weary about jumping, doesn't know if Jessica Tish is 100% staying as the police commissioner. So that spot is quasi-open, but not really being run by Wendy Garcia, who I've also learned is under a federal investigation for exactly what you just said with the EEO complaints. So when you read that there's a party like that and EEO is approving it, Wendy Garcia, who also associated with a known criminal, Jimmy Rodriguez and company at Concha Frito, who shouldn't even be in that position, but somehow has kept the job because she's brother-in-law with her brother-in-law is Udonis Rodriguez, who's the head of DOT, and at one time in city council. That's why we assume she's kept her job there. So that's what's going on with the EEO. And then the legal bureau has no idea about this. And this was my argument, and we're going to find this out. Did they have permission to have all these fraternal parties, fraternal organization parties, Christmas party? You have to get permission from legal because they need to review the places that you're having these parties at and who's funding what, because you're having a party there at Concha Frito. Did you forget about that report? Did you forget that they had no permits? Did you forget that they had a rat piss and stuff in the food? All this stuff. Where's the liquor license? How come this guy owns it, but the buildings department said to shut it down? And we had a self-admitted criminal mob associate hanging in there, and he's running the place. So you're saying it's okay for the police department to be here because it's the police commissioner's brother, and he's standing there. These are the things we want to know, but this kind of gives me an insight. Legal Bureau had no idea what's going on. But this here, they're saying they don't know what's going on. But EEO approves it, so you work there in corrections. Have you ever heard of EEO telling the department what to do and not Legal Bureau, who has no idea what's going on?
No, it seems really strange to me. I mean, maybe, look, I don't know if they just ran the best dressed part by EEO, only that, and we're like, gee, is it okay if we have a best dressed competition for only women at this party? And EEO was like, sure, no problem. For me, that's like very strange. I don't know why EEO would approve that, but it also sounds like, yeah, they needed a secondary approval from legal with respect to the rest of it. Is the party itself okay to have in this particular location? Like EEO wouldn't be involved in that. EEO has to do with diversity and equity. It doesn't have to necessarily do with, financial crime or who you're, giving your holiday funds to. And I do think, it's weird if they asked EEO and not legal. Why would you leave legal out of it? It seems strange to me. Yeah. It seems like a case that DOI should be investigating.
You just watched the latest clip from the Sal Greco show. If you want to watch the full episode, click the link below. And while you're at it, please hit the like, share, subscribe button. And don't forget to click the notification button also.